Now I want to go over some of the common properties that most gadgets share. To use as an example, I'll drop the parking lot lights object and use an oversized LED gadget so it's easy to see. For reference, let's look at the default style of the LED. It is a simple LED with a label beneath it and no background or border. If we edit the gadget, you can see that there are 5 tabs of properties. Some gadgets will have less, some will have more. The LED has several modes of operation, and it can use a range just as the text label we saw earlier. But we'll go over those in another video. For now, I want to show you the last 3 tabs. They are background, label, and options. And almost all gadgets will have all, or at least some of these tabs. First, we'll look at the background tab. This is where you can set the background as well as the border of the gadget. The default sunken background will use a gradient in the default theme colors to give a slightly sunken appearance. The default raised background does the opposite and makes it look slightly raised. You can also select a solid color or a custom gradient. With the custom gradient, the direction of the gradient can be changed, along with the starting and ending colors. For now, let's stick with the default sunken background. You can also set the border style and shape. I'm going to use a solid border style in the default color so we can easily see the bounds of the gadget. Several other border shapes and styles are available. There is a capsule shape that gives it rounded sides, so it resembles a capsule or pill. There is also a normal rectangle with sharp corners. But for now, we'll leave it at the default rounded rectangle. The default background, border shape, and border style will work in most situations and will fit in with the theme the user chooses at the login screen. But feel free to experiment with these settings. Now let's move on to the Label tab. Notice the label beneath the LED is outside the bounds of the gadget. This is because it is a separate free-floating label that is not restricted by the gadget's boundaries. Notice the text assigned to the label. It's just an @ sign and the letter O. This is a special code that will be replaced by the name of the object attached to the gadget. Several other codes are available, such as @V, which will display the value of the object. In this case, the LED being lit already tells us the parking lot lights are on, so it is not necessary to display the value. Several other codes are available and are listed in the help file. Some useful codes include @D to display the device name the object is on, and @U to display the engineering units. These codes can also be used in the hint field. The hint, if provided, will be displayed when the user hovers the mouse over the gadget. Let's make a hint to show the user the device name as well as the object name. Now, when the user hovers over the LED, they will see the hint text with the device and object name filled in. The hints are strictly optional, of course, but can be used in situations where the user may need more information. Some other properties of the label include the font size. Since the graphic display will scale to the user's screen and current window size, the font size is relative. It's best to decide on a font size and use it for all gadget labels and captions. The font color may also be changed, but keep in mind that if not set to the default, it could clash with the user's chosen theme. Next, there is the position of the label. It is currently set to bottom center. Bottom right will place the end of the text at that position. while bottom left does the opposite. There are 9 total possible positions, which covers all 4 corners, each of the 4 sides, and directly in the middle. So far, each of these positions is outside the bounds of the gadget, but it is possible to position it inside the bounds. I'll make the gadget a bit larger to make room. Now we can select Position Inside Gadget, and the positions will all work just as they did before, but now inside the bounds of the gadget. This is useful for some gadgets that don't take up the entire area. The position can be fine-tuned when necessary by changing the X and Y offsets. These move the label on the horizontal and vertical axis, respectively, by a number of pixels. These offsets are usually not needed, but do occasionally come in handy. That about covers the Label tab. Let's move over to the Options tab. The first option allows the user to bring up more information about the object by clicking the gadget. This is on by default and must be turned off if you don't want this. The users will not be allowed to change anything if they do not have permission to do so. The next option is the View Object. This allows a different object to be viewed when the gadget is clicked, such as a schedule. This can be useful in many different situations, such as chaining between graphic displays by clicking images or displaying holiday schedules. Skipping down a bit, the Show Reflection option just adds a light-colored gradient over the gadget to give it a bit of 3D depth. And finally, the Close Graphic Display option is used in conjunction with the View object. It will cause the current graphic display to close as it opens the View object. Not all of the gadgets will have these same options. For example, gadgets that write a value, such as a switch or dial, will have a write priority option to set the backnet priority it writes at. But each option field has a hint, and there is also more information in the help files.